What's going on, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar, and today I have a very special guest with me. This lady to my right here is Anna-Mia. And who are you? What do you do? In case people don't know.
Um, so I'm Anna Mia. I'm an international cosplayer. I've been cosplaying since 2008, and I've gone kind of everywhere all over the world doing cosplay. And now I do writing for a couple different sources. So I write for Cosplay Central, which is Reed Pop's cosplay website that they have. So I write articles for them on cosplay. And then also Otaku USA Magazine, which is the last surviving anime magazine in the United States.
It's so
So I
sad.
write for them. I know, it really is.
So sad.
Um,
I used,
and now
I
I
used
write
I used to write for Beckett Anime, and there was another one that I used to write for, and
was it
also
New
be
Type?
yeah, that was years ago when I would review manga. Man, that is sad. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
go ahead.
really miss the day where like you would get the DVDs in with the magazine. I mean, I get why they don't do it anymore because it was like a $14 magazine when you bought it. But it was cool because you'd get like the first couple episodes of different animes to try out, and I was always that was like one of my favorite things about those. And yeah, they don't make them like that. They literally don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, it's a weird time, that's for sure. Everything is out there on the internet, but I really do miss the days of physical magazines. Like, I mean, even comic books are like that too. Like, Wizard magazine is gone. Just about everything is
Hmm.
gone. So, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll start it up. But I'm glad to hear that there's one left and you still write for it.
Yeah, Otaku USA, and they basically cover, manga, anime, gaming, just everything out of Japan. And then, yeah, about like 7 or 8 years ago, I started writing cosplay articles for them. So each issue, I write about different cosplay topics, and it's been really fun and nice to do that, and kind of be able to put a lot of nonfiction work out there. And then
Yeah,
Dynamite came up to me with this idea of doing some fiction, and it's something
yeah.
I'd always been interested in. And yeah, it's kind of crazy the evolution of everything.
I completely understand. I never did any cosplay though. I dressed up for Halloween, but
I mean,
the
that's
evolution thing.
cosplay.
It is, right? It's like once a year
I think
cosplay.
Halloween is like where everyone is a cosplayer on Halloween, right?
Yeah,
And
I
then if
was
you're a
pretty creative.
cosplay, there are some really, really creative costumes out there. And then what's really funny is most of the time people are like, oh, you're a cosplayer. I bet you have an amazing cosplay costume. And I literally went to Spirit Halloween and got this giant Cheetos bag.
Uh huh.
So I was a giant Cheetos bag for Halloween.
So you, well, okay. But that's because the rest of the year you're busy making your own costumes. So it's cool to
Exactly.
chill, right? It's cool to chill in Halloween, so you don't have to do that. So
I
I get
think
it.
every cosplayer is like almost every cosplayer I know for Halloween is in like a onesie, or they just go to Spirit Halloween, or we're like, you know what? This is our day off. Like everyone else can
This is our day
cosplay,
off,
and we're just gonna take our day off and
right?
just party. So
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So we'll get into the Dynamite. By the way, big shout out to Vincent Faust for putting all this together. He's over at Dynamite, and we'll get to that here in a second. So, how long have you been cosplaying? How long? What was your very first cosplay? I always like to ask people this because I've had several cosplayers on the channel before, and I always like to find out like where all this started. Were you a fan of anime, manga, video games, or
so like my dad was a big geek, so I was kind of raised on like comics and Superman movies and everything
okay?
like that growing up. But I never knew Comic Cons existed
Mm,
until 2007, and one of my coworkers was like, "Oh, you should go to an anime convention since you love anime so much." And I was like, wait, there's conventions for this? Like other
yeah.
people get together and they hang out, and so I went to my first con. It was in Texas. It was an anime convention.
Okay.
And I didn't cosplay, but I saw cosplayers for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! It's like Halloween, but they get to do it, and they get to be all their favorite characters." And like, I just remember
Halloween.
immediately going home after the con, and I was like, "All right, where's the next convention?" And I'm dressing up, and I didn't know how to sew at all. And back then, we didn't have the really cool resources for costumes that people have now. Like cosplayers now, there's so many stores online that you can buy cosplays on, and they're really top quality cosplays.
Hmm.
But back when I first started, it was like sketchy websites, you know, like they're all based out of China. You have no idea if your credit card information is going to get stolen on this website. You know, I remember buying it and the outfit was like 2 sizes too big, and I still like tried to find some way to like work with it. And I was a hot mess. Like I have pictures of it, and it like my wig was way back here. No one told me. I was like, no one's going to tell me my wig was like way back. Yeah, it was little weeby me. And but honestly, like people were so nice about it and like encouraging at the convention, and yeah, I never stopped. So yeah, that was
That
my
was
first one.
2007. All right.
Yes.
So yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat that I am also a big geek. That I am. I push my kids to read comics, watch anime, play video games, read manga. We review manga on the channel as a family. We review comics
Aww.
on the channel as a family. My daughter this year went as an obscure character from Transformers, the IDW comic book series, and I posted it on Twitter, and the writer and artist were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" So they retweeted it. So I love that. It's very encouraging, right? Like especially for kids. Like, so what was your very first cosplay? What did you dress up as for 2007?
So it was an obscure anime called Shuffle, and it's one of those ones where it's like, you know, there's like the kind of geeky guy that, you know, and then all of a sudden, like, for some reason, every girl wants him. And they never explain why in the
That never
animes.
happens in real life, by the way.
But there's like a whole like genre of it where like that's the whole thing.
Are they maids?
And
Were they maids? Like I remember the dresses and the green hair.
that's like one version of it, but I mean like there
Okay.
are it's like a whole it's called the harem anime genre, and it
Oh yeah, I'm
literally
familiar
is
with
like
those.
this whole idea of like this character who's a normal person who ends up having like all these characters of the opposite sex that love them.
Yeah.
And it was this guy, and all these like elf princesses were into him, and the girl that I cosplayed as, her name was Narine, and she was the shy one. Like so, out of all of the girls, she was the shy one. And what's kind of funny is that was my personality when I first started cosplaying. I was super shy, believe it or not. And then for some reason, like the more I wore cosplays, like it honestly brought me out of my shell, and I started like wearing, you know, flashier costumes. Like Supergirl was one that I was just
Thought you were gonna go with the
my big
Flash,
one.
not the Flash.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! It's just the more you wear cosplay, and I always tell people this that are kind of like wanting to get into cosplay, but don't, you know, they're kind of intimidated by it. I'm like, honestly, it is the best way to get your confidence up, because there's something about getting to take on being another character, and especially one that you really enjoy and who is a powerful character. For me, it was my Supergirl cosplay. Like the more I wore that, I was like, you know, I gained her Kryptonian powers, and I became less afraid, and you know, now I can MC a convention hall of like 1,000 people in it, no problem. And yeah, it's kind of crazy how cosplay can really give you like a confidence boost.
So, did the Supergirl costume evolve with time? Did you start off like? Did the costume evolve with your confidence as well, like every year?
I would say it was more the characters that I did kind of increased with my confidence. So I still kind of went for, you know, very like I don't know, kind of concealed characters at first, and then Supergirl was the first one. I did the one with the like midriff showing, and that was like my first where I
I'm
was
gonna
like, "Oh,
I'm gonna show some pictures so people know. I had to
okay."
find that one, and I had to go in Google Shuffle because I'm like I know I remember that one. But anyway, so this is you. This is you. This is your outfit.
Yeah. So that was one of the ones that like really got my confidence out there, because I was like, all right, I'm going. I'm wearing this tiny skirt, and I'm gonna have, you know, my stomach showing, and I'm gonna go out there, and yeah, the more I wore it, the more confidence it gave me, and I started doing, you know, characters that were more powerful, and then I started doing villains, which it's kind of funny, like that progression of like, okay, now I'm
Oh,
gonna be this like super powerful. Yeah,
fair enough.
exactly. That's, to me, like, that's not a character that 2008 me would have done. I would have been like, no, that's so crazy, that's so intense.
Mhm.
And and then like years later I'm like, nah, bring it, let's do this.
I love it.
I
Oh,
can
these are
fulfill
great.
that character.
These are great. Yeah. So,
Thanks.
so when you
The
go to,
Mantis one is my favorite.
that's your favorite. That was my next question. What your favorite cosplay that you've done has been?
The Mantis one, mainly because a lot of people, it tricks a lot of people into think like, people think that I'm Palm when I wear, or they see the picture,
Oh,
and it's kind of funny. But then there are times where I feel kind of bad. So, especially when I'm at conventions, someone will come up and we're having a conversation, and I think that they know that I'm just a cosplayer. And then at some point, I realize that they think I'm actually Palm. And it's
oh,
usually like something like, they're like, what was it like being Guardians of the Galaxy? And I'm like, I wish I knew. Like, I'm just cosplaying as the character. And they're like, oh, okay.
you should have.
And then they kind of walk away.
You should have played along. You should have been like, let me
I
tell you.
do for little kids. Little kids, I
Oh,
become Mantis. And that's part of like, I think the best part about cosplay is how kids react to cosplayers. Um, you get that touch of being a Disney princess or a Disney character actor, you know?
yeah, because they have to stay in
Um,
character.
well, yeah, like at least for me, when little kids come up, I want to be that character for them. I want to be, Supergirl, or I want to be Mantis, and so I, especially if you can tell that they think that you are that character, and I think that's one of like the most precious moments are when kids legitimately think that you are the character that you're cosplaying as, and you get to have fun with them and create some sort of like magical moment that maybe when they grow up they're like, there was this awesome cosplayer that I thought was the actual character. Now I want to cosplay. So
So not for adults though. For adults, you're like, no, I'm not really the actor or actress. I'm just.
no, well, I always feel bad because eventually, like sometimes, especially if they start buying a print,
Mhm.
and then I always feel really bad because I'm like, don't spend money. Like, I don't want to take their money. And like, my friends joke and they're like, just sign Palm's name on there and just.
Totally.
And
You should own
I'm
that.
like, no. Because someone's going to post that online, right? They're going to be like, I met Palm. And someone's going to be like, that is not her.
I should have done this before the show and Googled images of your cosplay, because now I went down the rabbit hole of like, okay, which one's my favorite? These are all really good. But you've done some really amazing things, some amazing cosplay. I really like your Ghostbusters, but my all-time favorite, because it's probably my top 3 favorite anime of all time, from Tengen Toppa and Gurren Lagann, is Yoko.
Yes. I
Nice.
loved her. She was the kiss of death, is what I call her.
How come?
Just every time she kissed someone, it was just like, then.
You have watched it. Look at you. Good for you.
I was like, stop kissing people.
Oh my gosh,
Every
man.
time.
That poor woman. So, without going into spoilers for people that are watching this, it's great. It's wonderful, and
Yeah.
it's sad, heartbreaking, but it's so full
Yes.
of hope and heart. Um, so from that, yeah, from going into cosplay, right? Like, you started doing other things. You started writing for magazines. Then you got attached to Previews World. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah. So actually, Previews World, their main offices are up in Maryland, which
Hmm.
is where I was living before I moved to Seattle.
Okay.
I was living in the DC area, and I met some of the people at cons, and it was funny. They started off doing this little segment online. I think it was cosplay poker. That's what it was. And they invited me on for cosplay poker. So we would play poker, and if you like lost, then you had to like put on some random cosplay piece, and it was just kind of fun. And then from there, they had asked if I wanted to come in the studio and do some, video work with them. And it's just evolved from there to where I host their What's at Comic Shops videos. And then sometimes I guest on their Previews World Weekly show. And then they actually, I proposed an idea for a show to them called The Panel, which is a show that I've been wanting to do for a long time as like a super big bookworm, which was a comic book reading club show.
Hmm.
Like I just really wanted like, hey everyone, we're gonna read this comic and then come back and let's all talk about it. And so they made that happen, and we just did an episode last week on the chilling adventures of Sabrina,
Oh
and we
yeah.
had some people from Archie Comics on there. So that was really cool to be able to have that come to life. And yeah, I love the team over there. They're great.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm glad you're still doing that, and even though you're not in the same city because of the times we're in, you don't really have to be anymore to be doing things,
Yeah.
through the internet like this interview right now. Um, so you read comics. What are some of your favorite titles that you've been reading?
Oh God, there's so many. I'm really excited that Saga is coming back.
As
That's
we
coming
all are,
back.
yeah.
It's been such a long hiatus that I
The,
feel like I need to go back and kind of reread some of them. And like, I'm the same way with TV shows. Anything more than like a 9 month gap between seasons, and I'm like, okay, what happened? What did
now,
you guys end on?
now, Mia, you watch and read, you watch anime and read manga. We're used to hiatuses
I
in manga
know.
and anime. Like it was years between some of the manga that I read. I mean, not even the popular ones like Berserk, but oh my gosh, there are some manga that have been on hiatus for almost a decade. Then the
Oh
same thing
yeah.
with the
Well,
anime.
High School of the Dead was one that I was like,
Yeah,
I was hoping for so long until it was never going to happen. But it was one of those, yeah, definitely always kind of hopeful for him. But yeah, I need to reread Saga. Let's see. What else? I've been going back through ElfQuest recently.
whoa, I haven't heard that one
Um,
in a while. Look at you.
I loved Elf. So ElfQuest was like the first comic that I ever read like fully through as a
Mhm.
kid, and I did not understand some of the like tones that were in there. You know,
Yeah,
they're very free loving, elf
they
folks.
are elves.
Very, very free loving and so yeah, so that was one that I've always loved, and they have the final quest that came out, and then there is the Sky Watcher's Journey.
Oh, I
It's
don't
it's
know. I haven't.
basically Skywise's story. And so they're going on from that mainly because they are doing an audio movie, and I'm really excited for that. And that should be hopefully coming out in the next couple months.
Say an
And they've
audio
got some,
movie, so strictly
yes,
audio, like they were doing the Sandman, like the audio Sandman.
yes. And they
Okay.
also did Lock and Key so it's the same company that did the audio movie for Lock and Key is doing the same one for ElfQuest.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so what I like about it is it's really, for me as someone who, I'm constantly working on projects, so it's a lot of like having stuff playing in the background. It's
Yeah.
great because it's like getting to read the comic, and it's got enough of like sound effects and the voice acting in it is always phenomenal that you really don't need to see what's going on.
Mhm.
Although it's I now that I think about it, I should like go back and reread Lock and Key with the Lock and Key audio movie playing to see what the differences are or to see if that enhances it. Um, but I'm just, and the cast that they got for it is phenomenal. Like there's some people from Star Trek on there, Supernatural. They've got some people from Buffy in the cast.
Oh, okay. That does sound like a good cast. I wasn't. I'll be honest. I wasn't a fan of the TV show Lock and Key. I think I didn't even finish it because I really like the comic and I like the tone of the comic.
Yeah.
But the tone of the TV show, I think, was just a little. How do I put it? Whimsical and I guess it was a different target audience they were going for.
It was a
But
little more family friendly. It was
yeah,
like made for like a whole family to enjoy together.
yeah.
Cause yeah, there's some things in Lock and Key that I was like, I don't know, if they're gonna that'd be rough.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it starts off rough, right?
Yeah,
So as a kid,
like the mom goes through some stuff. Yeah.
so as a kid, were you a fan of ElfQuest? Like, was that your comic that you would go to?
I was. I used to like draw the characters in my like little I had a sketch pad, and I used to like try and draw them all the time. I loved the artwork. I just loved the look of all the characters. And then of course it was like elves, and as like a young girl, I'm like, wee, elves and unicorns, and so that was like right up my alley. Um so I've been redoing that because I'm actually working on a cosplay for that at the moment. So yeah, that's been fresh on my mind. So I'm rereading that at the moment.
That's awesome. Then are you reading it through their collected editions, like the big omnibus that they have, or
Yes.
I think they have trades of those. Yeah, cool. That's what I mainly talk about on this channel is collected editions, and I haven't picked those up, even though I know they've been out. Dark Horse, I think, started putting them out about 5, 6 years ago, and they've been doing a really good job of keeping those in stock. So I may have to go back and revisit that. I haven't read that in, oh my gosh, it's been years. So what so cosplay, magazine articles, previews world, and now you kind of bring it full circle. How did the whole writing comics come about? Was it something that you've always wanted to do, write your own comic, and how did that come about?
So I've never written or thought about writing a comic before this, but I had written like short stories and like novels. It's something I always had a passion for. When I was like 12, my mom actually over the summer to like put me in a creative writing course at a community college because it was just something that I really wanted to do.
Mhm.
And then as life goes, you kind of things happen and you kind of put stuff aside, and I didn't pick up writing for a while until I started doing stuff for the magazine and the website, and then I started doing cosplay covers for Dynamite. So I think that's kind of where that all started. I did a couple of Vampirella covers for them and some Betty Page. And I think that Nick had heard, about my writing and my work with Previews World, and it was this idea of, hey, would you ever want to write a comic? And it just kind of brought back all these feelings that I had when I was like younger, and like, oh my God, yes, I want an opportunity to write a story, like an actual story, and have it printed. And I jumped on it, but it became this undertaking of how do you write a comic script? Because I've written short stories, I've written books, and I know that a comic script is much different than the format of a manuscript. And the minute the idea was proposed to me, I went out and bought every book I could find on how to write a comic script, and I jumped in like I was back in college, and I read every single book I could, started taking notes.
That one.
Yeah, that was the one that I did the reprint. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So you bought the book.
Yep. Bought the books, started teaching myself exactly like how to write a comic, the formatting. That like writing itself was not going to be that difficult for me. One, because I loved writing anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's awesome about writing in comics is it's very much like screenplay writing. It's, you're storyboarding, right? And I am such a I love movies and TV. Like, yeah. I love them. And it, like, I always have something playing on in the background. Whenever I'm working on something, there's always a TV show or a movie playing on in the background. So that, to me, it just kind of instantly melded in my mind that, okay, well, this is me making a movie and putting it on paper. And once I kind of figured that out, it just flowed. And I think I wrote the initial script in about a week and a half. I just went crazy and I took it and ran. And what was cool is they originally wanted me to have a copywriter. They were like, oh, we'll have someone write it with you, or a co-writer. We'll have someone with you. Yeah. So that way they can take you on the ins and outs of everything. And I just went ahead and wrote it and submitted it and was like, here's my draft. What do you think? And they were like, okay, there's a couple changes here and there, but in all honesty, I don't think you need any help. And I got to write it on my own, which was great.
So you wrote your own comic without a co-writer.
Hmm.
And then how did the project come about? How was the Bettie Page project, which you said you did a pinup, right? A Bettie Page.
Yep. So I've done some covers for them in the past.
Okay.
Um,
Got the
and
cover that
then,
they're using that
yeah,
Vince
there's,
sent our way. This one here,
mhm,
which is nice. So
thanks.
this is
And
your
then,
story, right? That you're
uh-huh.
writing.
So this is the one that I'm writing. This one it involves like a lot of passions of mine. So my dad's military,
Hmm.
and so there's the military aspect within that, and then also I have like an immense love for anything horror and cryptids.
Okay.
I love spooky things, ghosts, cryptids, and so. And of course, being from the Pacific Northwest, having to involve Bigfoot was definitely a thing.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Yeah, of
so
course.
yeah, it just came naturally that I felt like Betty, so I had done the cover of Bettie Page and the Curse of the Banshee,
Hmm.
which I was like, I love this idea of Bettie Page going after like supernatural and going after this kind of different aspect, and then so it was kind of like bouncing off that idea and saying, okay, well, what would be my, like, with Betty was to go after another one, what would she go after? And it was just Bigfoot. That was the first instinct. So
So you went with Bigfoot. I love it. Um, and as far as pen to paper, you wrote the script, you turned it in, and everything was good. How about the art? Like I've got some internal artwork here to write,
yeah,
or I'm sorry,
so
show.
they brought Jonathan Lau on, and he has the most amazing artwork. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I really like how he was able to just capture exactly like the feelings of every panel.
Yeah.
Um, I can't I there's like one panel that I love, but it's the last panel, so I'm not gonna say anything about it because it
Okay.
is like a twist. And so I just not really, but it's just I love it, and I just want it's so good. He just really captured everything. I really wanted him to. I wanted to work together with the artist. I noticed that in script writing, there are some writers that they want to describe every single little thing in every panel. And it's
Like
like in
Alan
the upper
Moore.
right hand.
Alan
Yeah,
Moore
they
was like, oh my god. Yeah, if ever anybody wants to go write a comic book script, do not look at the scripts of Alan Moore because you
oh
won't
yeah.
feel like that small. Like it's like,
Yeah,
oh my god, I'm never gonna be able to do this.
so there's one of the books that I got, and it's which one was it? It's called Comic Book Scripts by Top Writers. And yeah, he's one of the ones where he shows it, and you're just like, I would not, like, that would be so hard to be an artist working with him, because it's like there's not really a lot of leeway. I mean, I guess the guesswork is out of it, but at the same time, it's like it's all dictated for you. But
Yeah,
for me,
I,
I
I,
really wanted to work together.
I like that. I like that idea. I like the freedom that you give your, because I mean it's a trust thing, right? Like you're the writer
Yeah.
you have visions in your head, but the artist is supposed to see what you wrote and go, okay, I think I can do that, or I can make it a little bit better if I switch this up. Yeah, there's he's not the only one. There's a couple of other writers, and I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, that will, holy crap, they have a lot of, or they want a lot of control, and I understand, but yeah, not everybody should be or can be Alan Moore. But these panels are amazing, gorgeous artwork.
Yeah,
This is
I
one
love
of the
letting
covers
him
here.
go with it, because he brought in some great ideas, and there were a couple of spread pages that we worked together on, and we bounced kind of ideas off of each other, like, oh well, this is kind of what I thought it would look like, and he's like, well,
Mhm.
what do you think if we did it like this? And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that, and then let's do this. And I liked having it be a collaborative effort, because I don't know. I feel like that's how comics should. It's
Good
everyone
comics,
working
good comics,
together. A good. Yeah. I just
absolutely.
feel like it's everyone, from the inker, the colorer, the letterer. Everyone is working together to make one art piece, essentially.
Hmm. it kind of reminds me of the way, because I love Bettie Page. When I was a kid, I found a stack of cards at a comic book shop that were Bettie Page cards, pinup cards, and I didn't know who she was. I was a kid. I was probably like 9, 10, and I bought them without my mom knowing. Because I didn't know what she was going to say. Besides, this woman was a lot older than my mom by the time I got those cards. But I didn't know that. All I know is how good she looked on on the cards. And then and then the older I got, this is before the age of the internet, I started finding out more things about her. There was a documentary I rented from the library about her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's older than I thought, but that's amazing. At the time, yeah, so I always got I mean, she's a goddess. So I think it's really cool that it all comes together. But what I was gonna say is it kind of reminds me his artwork of Terry Moore's artwork a little bit. But then again, Francine was kind of based off of Bettie Page a little bit, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And I like that cover.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's funny because like now I feel like I see Bettie everywhere. So one of the things is I live in Seattle, and there is a house along I-5, and it's known as the Bettie Page House, and it's this giant, and I think it's on their barn actually, and they've painted it with a giant mural of Bettie Page. And it's like this giant pinup mural of her. And so every now and then I pass by it and I'm like, and I really want to go and take one of my comics and go stand in front of it and take a picture. I'm just going to be like super weird and go up to these people like, hi, so I wrote this. Can I go stand in front of your barn and take a photo?
That would give it, I don't know if that would give it more legitimacy, but yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a photo op. For sure. So had you been a fan of Bettie Page? Not as big a fan as I was when I bought cards at the 9-year-old.
I've always loved like classic pinup. Again, like having a military dad, I kind of like, you always saw like pictures of the old warplanes and like all that kind of stuff. And they all had like the pinup women on them that were super sexy. And so I always had this fascination with like pinup women and like this like classy sexiness, and I don't know, there was just something so free-spirited and fun about just pinup in general. And then I learned about Bettie and just her personality and just the fact that it was just like she gave zero, like
She
did what she wanted to do. And one of my favorite quotes was that like I can't remember how it goes exactly, but the fact that like she didn't care about what was in fashion at the time. It was what she liked, and that's what she wore. And so it was just one of these things of she didn't follow anyone's rules, and especially back then. And it's just, I don't know, so liberating.
I can see why she spoke to you. Yeah. That's I'm trying to remember when she passed. I think she was in her 80s.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my goodness, it had to have been well over 10, maybe 2009, 2008, something like that. And I always wonder, like, when people
2008.
Okay, so 2008, yeah. I always wonder when people like that, had they seen things like these comics come, right? Like what they would have thought. Because a lot of people that comics sometimes are based on, they love it, right? Like they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You really made a comic book about me and Bigfoot? That's great. Like, I would love to have heard what she had to say about it.
I would have hoped she'd love it.
I would think so. So you tell me about the Indiegogo. So tell me how people can help, where people can get the book, what tiers they have, or what covers that are available.
So we're doing the comic through an Indiegogo campaign. I think there's like 4 or 5 days left. We hit the first, the goal stretch goal. Yeah, it's the first stretch goal. So everyone that pledges will be getting a special like Bettie Page trading card, which will be going in their packages as well. And yeah, you can get all sorts of things. They have the comic itself. You can get the Jonathan Lau cover, or there's also my cosplay cover, which I have to say, when will you have the opportunity to get a comic that was written by someone and they're also on the front cover as the I mean,
right?
boom,
I
2
don't
for
see
1.
Jonathan Hickman on Powers of X. That
Like, I feel like that's a first, right? Where the
right.
comic writer is also on the cover of their own comic. Can I claim that as a first?
I mean, you can claim it. I'm sure the internet will double check you.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. I want to say
I won't be insulted if someone
I think
checks that just so I can say.
you might be the only writer though that has. I mean, Elvira was on the cover of her comics, and she kind of co-plotted.
Okay,
but that wasn't a photo comic. So I think you might with the loophole. I think you're right. You might be the.
I mean, to be on the same platform as Elvira or anywhere near that would be amazing. So I'll take it.
You are. I had her on the show a month ago, so you're totally on the right platform. So it's either this cover or the artist cover here.
They also have some of the Bettie Page covers as well with her photos. They also have since this won't be in stores, there is a retailer option. So retailers can get like a special pack so that way they can put it in their stores, which would be something super exclusive to them. Let's see. There's also a Bettie Page statue that you can get, which I'm not gonna lie, I may have pledged to my own Indiegogo.
You pledged to your own comic. I love it.
Because, well, okay.
No, I understand.
Well, the statue is normally like $100 and something, but if you get it through my Indiegogo, it's only $75. So I bought the statue from my own Indiegogo because it's such a good price.
I don't blame
and
you.
I was like, you know what?
I'll have to look at that statue. Yo, nobody can blame me. 9 years old, finding a stack of cards like that.
Right?
Bettie Page in the Bigfoot. Maybe, and you know the thing is, like, maybe the guy that was taking the photograph at the time was like, all right, Betty, I want you to think of Bigfoot. Give me that face. That's how she posed for this cover, because she thought of Bigfoot. Go. You never know. Only the photographer and her would know, and that's it. That's how I would sell it.
A good way to do it.
So there is a statue and other tiers for this particular.
Yes.
How many pages is it? It's all in color.
So it's a 28-page comic. It's going to be all in color. Amazing work by Miguel.
Is he on your floor? He's not on your floor, is he? Were you looking for him?
No. I had written down the names of the letterer and the colorist because I wanted to make sure that I thank and incorporate everyone that works on this because, like I said, it's a group. It's a group project, okay, and we all worked on it, and so I definitely want to make sure that like everyone got credit for working on it. So let me so
while you're
the lettering was done by Carlos Mangual.
Okay.
And then the colorist is Andrew Dahlhaus.
Andrew Dahlhaus. Okay.
Yes.
So for people that are wondering how they can go, there's a direct link in the description of this video. Just click there. And there you can see the different tiers. And there's some racy black bag tiers I just saw. Now I got that kind of got my attention. And I see this. Where were we? The statue. Yes, you're right. Which is normally $190. They have that tier at $75. Wow, that is
right.
Nice. Yeah.
That is such a good because like it's been on my Amazon wish list for so long, like for like a year and a half. And then so yeah, that was definitely I saw that and I was like, I'm not even gonna feel guilty. Click.
Don't feel guilty. And then you can get your own comics and sign them yourself. I think this is great. I love when
Oh,
people.
I like that comment. Colorists are the unsung heroes. I like that.
From my buddy Ben Uncles. What's up, man? That's right. Yes, if anybody has any questions for Mia, please ask away. Because I have a question right now. Because we talked about
What's
Betty
that?
Page a lot. All right. Top 5 favorite anime of all time, Mia. Not putting you on the spot, but let's do it. Top 5.
Ooh,
Top
okay.
5. Give me some obscure stuff like Shuffle. I haven't heard that in like 20 years.
Okay, so Samurai Champloo is my all-time favorite. Mugen is just my love. Plus the music is incredible. Same thing, Cowboy Bebop, incredible
Most
music
people go
and
with Cowboy
storyline.
Bebop first. And you
Yeah,
understand Blue. Nice.
I have to do Samurai Champloo first. The music, it just tops it a little bit more for me than Cowboy Bebop. And then I'm gonna go kind of weird with Chobits because it was one of the first animes I ever saw, even though it is super weird and very risque.
Pretty? Oh, risque-ish.
It's a little interesting, this idea of personal computers that look like hot like anime chicks.
Yeah, and some of them are little. Like what was
some of them are little, and then Sumomo. Oh my god, the whole episode where she just runs around trying to find underwear and screaming out underpants the whole time around Japan. That was just freaking hilarious. Gosh.
No, you got 3 more. This is pretty impressive. I'm a big fan of Clamp, so I'm glad you mentioned Chobits. I'm glad you mentioned Chobits.
I had to do that one.
You didn't come ready. You came ready for Betty Page.
Elfen Lied. Elfen Lied's another one.
Good one.
The first 15 minutes of that is just like, I mean, it's so weird because the first 15 minutes are just absolutely beautiful and brutal. The choreography to the music with like her just ripping people to shreds is just so well done. And then there's like this goofy, like childish anime in the middle. And then you have like
boy finds a girl with amnesia who turns out to be a deadly weapon. Oh my gosh.
These places, it's so weird. And then and then the last like 5 episodes picks back up with like the brutalness. Yeah, that was
good choices. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying good choices. I agree. You're my people. You're talking about anime I saw like 15, 20 years ago. Because this stuff that people watch now, I'm like so out of the loop. I don't even know.
I mean, I like Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter's good. Attack on Titan's good, but
yeah.
I mean, you can't get that same like Wolf's Rain.
Oh,
like, you want to make people cry? Watch Wolf's Rain.
Oh, I used to have the beautiful box set. I had to sell it years ago. That came like limited edition box set. Yeah, Wolf's Rain, nice.
Yeah. I don't know that would have to be my top ones. It's all ones from like basically like when I was growing up, like all those classic ones.
Oh man, Golden Boy English dub is the greatest though, dude. Golden Boy, that's what's up. Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, or one of the other ones? Question. That's a question for you.
The only other one is Ravenclaw, and that's the one I am.
Josh sucks. He forgot what it was called. He did not read Harry Potter.
I'm a Ravenclaw. Proud Ravenclaw. I will say I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. My entire bedroom is done in Harry Potter. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why you corrected him. I would have to go with Slytherin. They're the cool ones, right? Like they're the bad kids. The guys like what's his name? The
Draco.
Yeah, Malfoy. Is that
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's it. I don't know. I was just asking stuff. All right, Josh. I like your choices. Yeah, it brought back a lot of memories because that was the stuff back in the day. Growing up, I think that's what becomes our favorites, right? Like no matter how much we age, we're like, no, nothing gets better than what I saw as a kid that influenced me. Then nothing gets better than that. No matter what garbage you show me nowadays, I don't want to see it. But
a lot of those, they stick through time too. Like there's some anime that I watch again. I'm like, why the hell did I like this? Like, what was like even now, like Chobits, I'm a little bit like. A little cringy. Why did I like this so much? But like at the time, I loved it.
But I mean, that was also during the phase of the maids. Like anime had that phase of
Mm-hmm.
like 15, 20 years of. I mean, I know they've always been a thing, but it felt like even like Gainax got into it, and all the other big companies got into this maid phase. Like we're gonna have. Oh my gosh, what was the Hanun? There's actually a couple of maid ones that I really liked. I don't know where I was going with that, but I did have a point. Um, the Wolf's Rain soundtrack is amazing. Bought the manga box set specifically to get it.
Oh, nice.
All right, cake or pie. Now we got the real questions coming. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it, brother.
I have to go cake because I like frosting.
I agree. I like
I like
cake.
sugar, so I like frosting.
My anime only came from Toonami. Nothing wrong with that, Shonda.
No,
A lot of
Toonami was
people,
good.
a lot of people had Toonami growing up. But I like my stuff a little risque when I found out that there was how do I put it? Boobies out there in anime that wasn't edited by censors on Sci-Fi Channel or Toonami. So yeah, I had to, we used to, my brothers and I, we used to go to this it's like a CD/VHS shop, and they had all the unedited stuff, the stuff that hadn't come out to America yet, and stuff that they probably shouldn't have been renting out to a 12-year-old or 13-year-old.
Honestly, that's what I miss about like so we have Fry's up here. I don't know if you've heard of Fry's. It's like
Yeah.
basically like a Best Buy. And I mean, even Best Buy is like, those used to be such good places to get animes. Like honestly, Fry's used to be like one of the best places to get animes. They would have like racks of animes, and it was amazing. And like now you can't find them anywhere. Like I mean, and I'm still a physical disc lover, like, and I'm a physical book lover.
Man, you belong on this channel, like, right?
Like, I just can't do the digital. Like, I'm a book sniffer. Okay.
Hey, yeah.
I have to be able to turn the pages, and I have to, so I miss the days of being able to go into like, Best Buy or a DVD store and just seeing like all the racks of like, especially the used anime that you could get for like half off. That was the best.
Oh, that was, but half off back then was a lot of money. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we're talking like, especially if you had like VHS days of like, I always tell my friends when they were talking about, so Evangelion just came out with this limited edition beautiful set that was like 200 and maybe 300 something. And I did the math really quick, and I'm like, all right, 26 episodes, but y'all don't know. Back in the day, I was paying $24.99, $29.99 for 2 episodes. Like, you multiply that times, 26 series, 13 VHS. I don't know. I can't do the math really quick. That's a lot of money. And I think I justified buying that big set because of that. I'm like, I spent that money back then. I can spend it on it now. Yes, when it was called Japanimation, those were the days.
Ah, yeah.
Before we had this term called anime. But then you wouldn't have this Animia, right? Like, you would have to be Japanimia.
Japanimia. Oh, wow.
Which actually.
Oh, but I'm not Japanese though, so that'd be kind of weird.
Well, you're also not Mantis, and you fooled people into thinking that you are. All right. So here's something from El Torito Rique. Anemia, I remember visiting you at Big Wow Comic Fest back in 2015. You were cosplaying as Mikasa Ackerman in Mario. I remember taking a photo with you on a Saturday. Very specific. Mikasa.
Yeah, I was doing Mikasa. Oh my gosh. That was like the one time I wore that because those straps were horribly annoying. I think I actually accidentally snapped one when taking a photo. Like the leg straps. Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, good to see you again.
You seem like you have a pretty good, solid fan following. That's good.
Yeah, I love those guys. I love going to. That's why I miss cons. I miss cons not happening anymore.
They'll happen. We'll bring them back. We're bringing them back. Which series is better for you? Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, or Hunter x Hunter?
Oh, I grew up on Sailor Moon. That was like my come home from school, and then you put on the cartoons, and it was like, yeah, that was definitely one of my after school cartoons was Sailor Moon. So
good answer. Love old anime from the 80s like Macross, Vampire Hunter D, and Wicked City. Yeah, but back then we called Macross Robotech. We didn't know it was Macross, but those were the days. And Wicked City, actually, I remember Wicked City was one. Vampire Hunter D and Wicked City both came out on Sci-Fi Channel one year, and I remember Vampire Hunter D because I was in the 8th grade or maybe a freshman, and I remember they cut out the bottom of one of the serpent girls like breasts, and that's the one
Oh,
that I
no.
said, wait a minute, that's a weird edit. I'm gonna find the
There's
uncut
so
version.
much editing to like anime back in the day. Like there's so much that was missing from Sailor Moon.
$260. That's how much it was. Yeah, there. Oh man, the whole cousins thing with Sailor Uranus and Neptune, right?
Which I don't think that made it any better because it was like they're very close cousins. Like,
right? I'm like, them cousins are from Kentucky. I used to make cousin Sailor Moon toys fight my Power Rangers. That's what's up.
Yes, I used to play Power Rangers in my backyard.
I first found anime as a kid, early Saturday mornings with Voltron. Yeah, Voltron was it too, man. They were the ones that connected like the giant robots first.
Mm-hmm.
I bought Batman the Animated Series, like $20 for a 2-episode VHS. Took forever to get the whole series. Then when the DVD came out, I donated them to a church. My man.
Aww.
Do you guys remember how exciting it was back in the 90s when you go somewhere and they'd have anime? It was just like an amazing treasure trove you discovered. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
so glad that like this is all becoming so much more like normal, not normalized, but like more accepted, I guess. You know, like we were kind of like picked on for this stuff as a kid growing up, you know, comics and fantasy movies and books and all this. And it's like now kids have access to so much like cosplay, like the amount of cosplay supplies and the quality of them has increased dramatically over the last 10 years. Now you have like, you know, anime streaming services.
Yeah.
I wish the number of time I'm gonna be that bad person. The number of hours I spent downloading episodes of animes because it was the only way to get, especially when you were a broke kid, you know. It's like Napster was your friend.
I wish I had Napster in the late 80s, early 90s. We were bootlegging VHS, and that took forever because it wasn't downloading any files, right? Like this mystery cloud that somebody uploaded. It was like taking a VHS and copying it over to another VHS. And luckily, it wasn't like Disney. Disney always found a way to copyright their material. So you couldn't copy. Oh my God, I'm going into the old school way of bootlegging. But anyway, yeah, it was the same thing. I couldn't afford that stuff. So we rent a few tapes from that sketchy CD VHS place and then have a library of our own bootleg stuff.
Yeah. Oh God, LimeWire. Yeah, LimeWire was the one that take forever.
Dude, you'd watch that one song downloading.
Oh, so many hours spent on that. And you spend like an hour downloading like one 20-minute episode, and then only to find out that it wasn't dubbed or subtitled, and it was just purely in Japanese, and you're like, well, crap.
Those kids these days don't know how good they have it, man. Can't believe I'm saying that. A good portion of my anime collection was in video CD. That's right, VCD format. The first time I watched Evangelion in its entirety was glorious 320p resolution, baby. That's when you knew you were hardcore.
Kids are so spoiled with their 4K.
Pixelated anime boobies, and I know that's a term now, but I mean that's what it was back then, man. I remember discovering a bunch of different series by finding AMVs. That's anime music videos. I remember on Kazaa and bring like, whoa, that looks dope. I think that's how a lot of people found out about Evangelion. That was one of the most popular ones from what was it, Asuka fighting the white angels, the birds in the movie.
I loved AMVs. There were so many emo AMVs. Or maybe those were the ones I watched back then. I know. They were also emo.
Dude, when they started doing like mashup AMVs, they started getting creative. Like it was like Vash versus Spike Spiegel. Vash from Trigun versus Spike Spiegel, like duking it out with guns. That was cool. Where's the future of anime heading? I tried looking for some books at local Indigo, but the lady works there said they are limited for sale at Indigo due to adult content.
Interesting.
I don't know.
A lot of fan service?
Still out there. Bear Share. That was the other one. Y'all not giving Bear Share. It's 2. Bear Share. Then I found like a friend's FTP that he let me into, like when he was going to, what was he, Nashville, I think? One of the colleges. They opened up an FTP, and it was just, oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah, the quality was crap, but I got to see so many things. And it's insane how much faster things get here. Like, things are airing same day in Japanese with English subtitles. Remember when we had to wait years for like Somebody to
One day this will
translate.
come to America.
One day we'll get that finale of Giant Robo, and now people are like, "Oh yeah, let me see if it's on." It ain't out yet. It's coming out tomorrow. This is some crap.
Or I remember there were like some people that would do like their own subtitles. Like some guy would just be like the cool dude and be like, "Here, guys, I subtitled this for you." Just imagine there's some poor guy just watching an anime, slowly typing out all the subtitles for everyone.
I thought, okay, for real, coming clean. That's the way I watched Dragon Ball Z, because it wasn't out in America. Dragon Ball Z wasn't out in America. So for the longest time, I thought Frieza was racist, because the way that they had written the subtitles. Anybody that's watched those, what were they called? Oh, I wish I could remember. Anime Labs. Anyone that watched those Anime Lab subtitles knows exactly what I'm talking about. Those fan subs.
Yes.
So when I watch like the real Frieza, I'm like, man, this dude's a joke. He ain't as mean as the Frieza I used to watch. But anyway.
Anime had their own meaning back then.
I want to thank you so much for joining me, and for taking a trip back to those anime days of long ago. And of course, if we're talking about Bettie Page and the book that you're putting together, you've got a few more days on Indiegogo. Again, the link is in the description of this video if you want to go over there and get yourself a copy, lock one down, get yourself a cheap statue of Bettie Page, or just check out
hey, if I become famous, this could become worth a lot of money. I'm just saying, you know.
Well, I mean, this is a stepping stone, right? Like in the right direction. I mean, once you're here, like, it's only.
I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it. Like I'm determined. So when it happens, if you have this is gonna be a collector's item. So
there you go. Now, when you're not writing comics, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
I am on all of the social medias under Ani-Mai Cosplay, or Ani-Mai Official. So either one of those. Basically, if you plug in Ani-Mai, you're pretty much guaranteed to find me. I'm on, all of them, except I don't do TikTok all that much. I like watching them. I hate making them. I'm too old.
I haven't figured it out. I know it's there. And then you're also on Previews World, and you write articles for, what is it, Otaku USA? Is that the
Otaku USA, and then the Cosplay Central website, which is run by Reed Pop.
Gotcha. All right. Well, big thank you for joining us today. And if you're at Lexington Comic-Con next year, I'll come by and say hello.
Yeah, I will be there. I'm always at Lexington Comic-Con. I love that convention. Honestly, the staff there are like family to me at this point. So, awesome. I love Lexington.
And somebody saying thanks for all much for your work at Previews World.
Thanks.
All right, everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. And thank you again, Mia, for being here. And check out her book. Check out that Bettie Page book.